Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is my third NBA rant. It's been a while, honestly, and game two of the NBA Finals was last night. Shout out to the Celtics, my favorite team. They are up 2-0. They took care of home, which is good, which is what they're supposed to do, and Jason Tatum. I guess we can just get into that conversation. I'm gonna talk about a few things, but we could just start with the current finals, and then I guess we'll just go backwards to other um, conversations. So, yeah, in this finals, Jason Tatum is not playing as well as I would have liked on the scoring end of things, but as far as being a facilitator to his team and being a well-rounded player, Jason Tatum is actually doing very well, and I think it's a little underrated, a little unnoticed, and I don't think that that's fair to him. But he's also on the greater team. Luka on the Mavs is giving me very strong 2007 Cavs energy, 2018 Cavs energy, where he's doing literally everything he can and playing his heart out, playing through injuries and all of that, and just, getting his team there. And while in the Western Conference Finals, Kyrie was a big contributor, it's clear that the same is not happening in the finals. Yeah, Drew Holiday is doing his best to defend Kyrie. I don't know if his history with Boston is affecting him in terms of his gameplay, but we'll see. And honestly, as much as I'm loving it right now, I am oddly not as entertained by this finals. In all honesty, I enjoyed the 22 finals with the Celtics more. I think just because they were younger, they were hungrier. The way that they came back. Honestly, it's the complete opposite of what this playoff run has been. Because in 2022, they were coming off of a season where they were losing a lot in the first half of the season, and then just came alive with the new defensive scheme and just Udoka just growing as a coach. And they just came back and just went on a run, and their revenge tour that they went on. I mean, beating the Nets, sweeping the Nets, by the way, beating the Bucks, and then who were defending champs, and then beating Miami, and all those teams had beaten them in the past. The past 3 years at that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, in 2020, yeah, in 2019 it was the Bucks. In 2020 it was the Heat, and in 2021 it was the Nets. So to beat all three teams in that run was amazing, and then going to the finals against the team that they probably should have gone against in 2018 if they hadn't, gotten beat by LeBron, and but just that whole thing of this new team on the come up and these great young players versus the veteran that was Steph Curry, and then losing that game after losing that series after being up 2-1. I mean, I just really, really enjoyed that. And I haven't talked about this stuff in a while, so this is just a little solo video. Stay updated with my podcast, by the way. Phil and Hill is still on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everything else, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. Seriously, you check out the podcast if you can. It's great. We're on our 5th season, and I'm really looking forward to everything that's coming up. Getting back to the topic, though, I just really enjoyed that playoffs and that finals. Jaylen Brown was going off. Andrew Wiggins was going off. Steph was a monster. I got that energy. Now, granted, there's only 2 games in, but for some reason, the and it might be the media's fault, but honestly, between the whole this was the easiest run to a finals ever, and the whole Jason Tatum isn't doing what he's supposed to do, I think it's starting to get to me because like I'm watching the finals and I'm like, yeah, a lot of these players on those teams were injured and they're just they're not doing what they need to do, and it's wild because they beat the Mavs by 7 points last night. And that's with all of them having, like, other than Drew Holiday and Derek White, all of them having, like, kind of poor shooting nights. Terrible from three. And JT was 6 for 22. I mean, like, and it just falls into that narrative. But they're such a great team, regardless, that they can pull out these wins and do what they got to do. And it doesn't help that other than Luka, nobody on the Mavs is really making much of an impact. So it's hard to because if both teams are playing poorly, it's like, is it really that entertaining of a finals to watch? That's the thing that's like kind of killing me. So I'm hoping that when it gets to Dallas, everybody just amps up. Like Dallas is playing well, Boston is playing well on the road, which they have. They haven't lost on the road at all this entire playoff run. So Game 3, I think, is going to be where it really starts to ramp up and get exciting, and I'm really looking forward to that. If the Celtics win, which I believe the Celtics will win, everybody's saying Mavs in 6 or Mavs in 7. I believe, honestly, that it will be Celtics in either 6 or 7. If the Celtics win Game 3, it's over in 5. If the Celtics lose Game 3, I think the Celtics win in 6 or 7. And I only see this being like a really serious, scary series if Dallas is able to tie it up. If they don't do that, it's over. That's just how I feel. Should the Celtics win, honestly, because it's such a well-rounded team, I don't know who would get Finals MVP. I kind of see it being a Jaylen Brown situation. If they had won in 2022, I'm not gonna lie, I'd have gave it to Jaylen Brown. But this year, it's tough. It could be because anybody can go off on any given night. It could be 4 separate games, like of Boston playing well. Like all of their wins could be 4 separate games of somebody else taking it over. Because Game 1, you could argue, was either Jaylen Brown or Porzingis. Game 2, definitely Drew Holiday, and you can even make a case for Derek White. And and whatever happens from here, who knows? And honestly, again, on the well-rounded tip, you could even make a case for Jason Tatum. I wouldn't give it to him personally right now, but it's tough. This is just a really, really good team, but I love that. This is probably the best team that I've seen. I mean, Nuggets did great last year. Nuggets were a great team. I'm not gonna lie, but as far as the whole team being so talented, the last one that I can really think of like that, aside from the Warriors, is really the 2014 Spurs. That was a great team that just everybody was doing what they need to do. Everyone contributed, and they were great on defense, and they just took care of business. I really see this team being like that. The only issue is because Jason Tatum doesn't seem to be leading the charge. It's not leaving the impact that it's supposed to have, and it's not, and because of the injuries to all the teams on the way there, it's not making the impact that it should have with a team that's as talented as this Boston team. It's just cruising, which is what they're supposed to do, but it's just not entertaining because they haven't really had to show dominance and beat the true stars of the team, which is unfortunate, honestly. But there's no fault on Boston. It just is what it is. So now to start going backwards, let's go back to conference finals. Ant was great. And the whole discourse around Anthony Edwards is cool. I think it's a little early, a little premature, but he's great. And as far as the future of this league, obviously other than Luka and Tatum, and obviously like the big guys, Giannis, um, Embiid, kind of, and then Jokic, clearly. There you have now Ant stepping up and doing his thing. You have Jalen Brunson on the breakout, which is amazing. You have, the future of like Wembenyama and Chet alongside SGA, and the return of John Morant and Zion should they stay healthy and out of trouble, respectively. I feel like that would be like amazing storylines moving forward, and I I can't stand that the Knicks just got depleted the way that they did, because honestly, the Knicks were having the kind of year that the Celtics had in the past. Like they were just fighting through and being a great team. And Jalen Brunson was just playing out of his mind. Like the amount of 40-point games he was having in that last stretch of the season and into the playoffs was like amazing. And I really respect this man, and I appreciate it. Just the addition of him to the lineup and what it's done for Nick culture is amazing. And between him, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, definitely Josh Hart, and all my guys. I feel so bad for Mitchell Robinson, and I feel bad for OG. Like it was coming together so perfectly, and we'd have stomped Indiana if everybody was healthy. And honestly, we'd have gave Boston a run for their money. Boston is my favorite team. Jason Tatum is my favorite player, but I love the Knicks. I just love when the Knicks are good. I enjoy basketball when the Knicks are good. And the Knicks would have gave the Celtics a run for their money. That would have been the answer to all of that. All that discourse around the Celtics. The Knicks Celtics conference finals would have been the battle test that everybody was waiting on. And that would have been the litmus test for where the Eastern Conference is going moving forward. I feel bad for Giannis and Dame not being in there. I mean, the Eastern Conference honestly was just very beat up this year, and it ruined my excitement for how these playoffs were going to go. The Eastern Conference was admittedly a lot less exciting because of these injuries. I didn't really care at all about Cleveland and Orlando, but I love Donovan Mitchell. I love Paolo. I think Paolo is another young player who's going to do great. So that is, something to look forward to. And every time injuries happen and these unfortunate things happen where like you can't enjoy the moment in the moment, it makes you just want to look forward to the future. The Western Conference was really cool. I enjoyed a lot of those games. The Denver Wolves series, had no idea that it was going to go down like that, but I respect it. The parity, that the fact that ever since 2019 there's been a different champ every year. That's crazy. It's exciting because you really don't know what's going to happen. Do I miss the dynasties? A tad, but I mean, it makes it exciting. Like only one team can get it, and the fact that all these stars are on all these different teams and everybody's playing as well as they play, you really don't know, and it doesn't matter how great your star is. Honestly, that's what it's proven. Like if your stars are great, but the rest of your team has no depth, or the rest of the team is not stepping up to the moment, then it's just not going to work, because if Kyrie was playing in the conference finals the way he's playing now, the Timberwolves would have won that series. But when everyone steps up, Washington, Gafford, Jones, Lively, when everyone is stepping up and doing what they need to do, you win. So that's and Boston is proving that. Like everybody is doing what they need to do, and this is them playing poorly. So, imagine them firing on all cylinders. Like it would be blowout after blowout. Like and even then, people would still have something to say where it's not entertaining. So, it sucks for Boston. Like you lose either way. Someone's gonna criticize you no matter what. I've been avoiding talking about it, but I have to talk about Kevin Durant now. In my last rant, which was a while ago, I spoke on how Durant needed to win with Phoenix. He needed to make it happen. He needed to get them over the hump. He needed to take them there. He needed to win as the Finals MVP to save his legacy, and that has not happened. While he's still a great player and still my second favorite player currently in the league, um, I just I feel bad for him, and then I don't. A lot of these things that happen to him, I don't view it as completely his fault the way a lot of the media portrays it. Um, but he doesn't. He just doesn't will his team the way he used to, and you have to call into question like how successful he's been outside of the Warriors, outside of that run. Now, individually, still a fantastic player, still a top 10 player in my book. Um, I mean, even this year, he was top five in scoring, uh, averaging 27 after an Achilles, and no one is really giving him that credit no more. After an Achilles injury, to still be playing this well all these years later and be as productive as he is, that's amazing. It just the problem is Kevin Durant's teams are horrible. His whether it's the coaching, whether it's again the role players not stepping up, whether it's his teammates getting injured between Beal and Booker. I mean, it's just super super unfortunate, and I hate that for him because he's such a fantastic player and so prolific and legendary that he deserves better. In my current list of goats, he's still top 15 for me. He can't crack top 10 because of what's going on. Despite how great he is, it's just his success is just not there. But I did want to mention here. I've been waiting to talk about this for a while, and I'm gonna wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. I didn't want this to be like a super long rant, but I ended up talking about the current playoffs and finals a little more than I thought. But I wanted to talk about this here because people love to say that KD without Steph is just trash, and that KD should regret leaving the Warriors. But honestly, had he stayed, it'd still have been the same issue. Everybody would have been like, "You're only winning because you're on the Warriors," and it's the weakest move by an NBA superstar ever. Like, if he had stayed, that'd just continued to be his legacy. It's only a problem that he left because these unfortunate things are happening. He was injured, then Kyrie and Harden were injured, then he happened to be in New York, so Kyrie not taking the vaccine played a part in it. Then he got injured again in both 2022, 2023. These freak accidents to just keep him out of games from like January to March, which fucked up his average, which fucked up his individual legacy. Because honestly, had he not been injured in 22, 23, Durant could have made a case for MVP. Durant could have made a case for NBA, All NBA first team. But injuries played a part in that, and the team is just not doing what they need to do, have fucked that up. So it's just Kevin Durant just has the most unfortunate circumstances to me of any current superstar in the league. It's just wild. But saying that, like, him without Steph, as if Steph has had such a great career without KD, because he really hasn't. Like, if you really look at it, other than 2022, and a ring is a ring, and that's like the most important um, argument for Steph without KD, because Steph has won before, during, and after, whereas KD has only won with. I get that. I get that. But in terms of like KD and Steph individually, um, it's really not that big of a uh, what am I? Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I gotta edit this. If I might not. Fuck it. Who's watching this anyway? But like, Steph is not as great without KD either. Like, truth be told, because all right, 2020, KD was injured and Steph was injured, so 2020 doesn't even really count. And KD's team made it farther than Steph's team. In 2021, KD and the Nets made it to the second round. Steph lost the play-in. In 2022, obviously, Steph got his ring. But in 2023, they both lost in the second round. And then in this year, KD at least made it to the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, he got swept. Not his fault. Not really. But KD at least made it to the first round. Steph lost in the play-in this year. So other than 2022, it's not like the Warriors are infinitely like proving that they're better without KD either. Like, it's just, everything just has to go right, and nothing has gone right for Kevin Durant. So that's the only issue. Because before joining the Warriors, KD had a better career than Steph. He'd been the scoring champ 3 years in a row, went to the Western Conference Finals, went to the finals. You know what I mean? So, like, let's not act like there's this huge gap between Steph's success and KD's success, because it's really not. And I hate when people bring that up and be like, he should have never left the Warriors. No, honestly, him going to the Warriors was going to affect him. That's the decision that fucks him up, because he hasn't won since then. So that's all it is. And even if he stayed, everyone would just keep criticizing that decision. The worst part is that the Thunder were never able to make it work. That's all. And as far as, again, last thing, the GOAT conversation, I will never debate anybody on the GOAT ever again, because it's pointless. If you think it's LeBron, you're always going to think it's LeBron. I think it's Michael, and I will always think that it's Michael, and there's nothing you can say to convince me of that. And LeBron's longevity, to me, is starting to work against him, because now everyone's worrying about like his influence on coaches, the amount of coaches that have changed, and the fact that him and AD were healthy and played as long as they did this year and still lost in the first round in 5 games. Like, he just does not impact winning like that anymore. Kareem, at this stage of his career and at that same age, was far more successful than LeBron at this point. So no one wants to talk about that though. And LeBron's had a lot of first round losses, a lot of sweeps, a lot of losing, not making it to the finals 2 years out of this stretch of time in the Lakers. So, LeBron on the Lakers is a little better than, in totality, it's better than Jordan on the Wizards, but it's not like Jordan wasn't doing what he's doing. And the only knock on Jordan's time on the Wizards was bad front office moves, because they shouldn't have traded Hamilton, in my opinion, for Stackhouse, and the fact that Jordan was injured. He played all 82 games with a knee injury, so he wasn't gonna be the same Jordan. And Jordan was retired for 3 years, so come on, like, I'm tired of that that comparison, that argument, and it's stupid. And I just feel like Jordan, in the totality of his career, has been able to achieve higher heights than what LeBron has been able to achieve in the totality of his career. Yes, his durability is amazing. He's great. He is just to be able to be this talented at this age. Yes, is amazing. I give him all the credit in the world. And again, he's number 2 on my list, but he will never be number 1. And that's it. That's it. Rant over. I hope that Boston wins. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back to making some more videos. But again, as far as this YouTube journey, I'm nearing my end with that. Just moving to different phases of my life, you know. And yeah, hope you enjoy.